So we were discussing the formulas and functions in Microsoft Excel, and we have seen the best way to construct a formula or a function is to use a cell reference. Cell reference, that is to use the cell address instead of typing the actual numbers. And in turn, this enables the Excel to automatically update the result of the formulas and functions when you change the values in the cells which are referenced. And using cell references in formulas and functions is also important when you copy a formula or a function. So we are talking about copy now. So copying formulas, functions, and cell references, this we are going to see today. When you copy the formula or function, the cell address will be copied in a particular way depending upon how the cells are referenced. And specifically, Excel records cell addresses in formulas and functions in three different ways. First is your relative cell reference. The other is your absolute cell reference. And the next one is your mixed cell reference. What do we mean by this? Several different ways exist to copy and paste a formula or a function. You see, you can just copy paste from the edit drop menu. You can use Ctrl C, Ctrl P from keyboard shortcuts. You can use the autofill feature. You can activate the cell remaining containing the formula or function by selecting it and drag the autofill handle down the column or across the row to fill the remaining cell. So copying formulas and functions instead of typing them into a new cell obviously avoids various errors and will save your time as well. Let us start with the relative cell reference. So calling cells by just their column and row number, like this, say A1, is called a relative cell reference. So when the formula or functions contain relative cell referencing and they are copied from one cell to another, Excel does not create an exact copy of the formula or function. Instead, Excel changes the cell address relative to the row and column they are moved to. For instance, in a simple addition, say, if you have, say, is equal to A1 plus B1, like this. Okay, this is your simple formula. If it is copied to, say, if it is this is C1, you copy it to C2. The formula would change to by itself A2 plus B2 because A2 and B2 is reflecting the new row. So if you use simple average function, say average average from B2 to B5 in cell say B6, then if you copy this to, so you say the result is coming and you copy it to C6, the formula is going to change to average C2 to C5 like this to reflect a new column. Let us take an example. We will enter information into say blank worksheet. We'll just ignore any formatting and we'll define a formula in certain cell. Let me make it for you. It's already being made and I'll just show you and then we'll perform this copying and pasting of the formula and functions. So this is our simple example. Say we have a textbook of biology, chemistry, calculus, English. This is the quantity and this is the price. And we'll work out with this data sample or data example. We'll just ignore any formatting. Now, we define a formula in say cell D2. What will be the formula? To calculate the cost of say a group of biology textbooks, and we'll copy the formula into say cell D3 through D5, D2 to D5 here. How are you going to do this? The most logical solution you will understand here is quantity into price will be the actual price of how much this biology book cost. What you're going to do here is you can just write is equal to, as we just suggested, is equal to, then you know it is B2, so you will use B, make it B2 and just say into and then C2. Okay, say enter. Everything is fine. What about copy pasting? So we want same thing to happen here. We can just add these function, copy and paste the formula into the desired cell. How you're going to do that? You can compare the formulas and say, see this one, and just by looking this because this is the formula bar, we call it as a formula bar. What you can do here is you can come here, Control C and say Control V. I just took this or highlighted this particular cell and I said Control C, and then I just pasted here. Again I pasted here. Again I pasted here. See, only by copy pasting. And if I select this one, this is B4 into C4, which I actually wanted, which I never gave. I just gave B2 into C2. I never gave B5 into C5. It automatically came. Okay, you can just see this is the formula bar. You can easily see. So in the cost of the following string we have already seen, you can copy the average function and you can find out others also, as we have just seen in the earlier discussion. Now absolute cell references. This is over. We'll talk about the absolute cell references. So the absolute cell reference refers to the same cell, no matter where the formula or function is copied. In other terms, when a formula or a function containing an absolute cell reference is copied to a new location, the cell reference is not adjusted. Absolute cell reference. So to create an absolute cell reference, you will need to add a dollar sign in front of both the column and the row identifier for the cell referenced. This fixes the row and the column. So row and column. You can add this dollar sign automatically by using this. You can use the F4 keyboard shortcut. You can just press the F4 key once after entering cell addresses into the formula or function by typing or by using the point mode. For example, when the formula like this, B say 7 into $C1 $1, sorry, this is B7 into $C1 and again dollar here, okay, $C $1. This is copied to say some other cell, say C7 C8. Okay, the relative cell reference changes from B7 to B8, but this C $1 absolute cell reference will remain unchanged. So the absolute cell reference is most often used when you want to use a constant in your formula or a function. What is the advantage of placing the constant in its own cell and using an absolute cell reference? Because the referencing the cell containing the constant in all the desired formulas and functions with an absolute cell reference allow you to change the value of the constant in the one cell, and all the formulas and functions absolutely referencing the cell will be automatically updated. So this is much better than typing the actual value of the constant into the formulas or function. We'll take an example. We'll demonstrate what happens when you don't use an absolute cell reference when you should. Okay. So I'll just take some other example and then we'll try it out. Okay, whatever we have just discussed. So we'll try and examine this what we have discussed here. So just consider this spreadsheet. In column A, so say from F A or A from F, this is the rows, and then you see there are 4, 1, 2, 4, these are the rows. So in this say D2, we already have D2, okay, this is D2. So in D2, we can calculate the total of say trial 1 or exam 1 or exam 2 using some function. How are you going to do that? You know already that. So this is equal to 0 is equal to, and you say just sum, and in the brackets you can give say B2, and you can say comma then C2. Okay, this is fine. And now I'm interested in just Control C, copy, Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, the numbers are there. Now we'll use the autofill feature to copy the function subjects we have already seen. In cell E2, this one, we enter the formula, that is, say D2 into F2. That means we'll multiply this D2 with the constant formula like this. How you're going to do that? When you want to multiply 139 with 0.05, you're actually interested in doing that. So we'll do D2 into F2, either by typing or by using the point mode. And you can use this autofill method to copy these two also. You have to note that the result of the formula for subjects, some subjects will be incorrect, because this is because the formula reference the constant using a relative cell reference. I'll just show you how. And what we are going to do this is we'll say E2, this is equal to just say D2 into F2. Okay, so this is 6.95. D2 into F2, we are multiplying it by 0.05. Let us make it 0.5 so that we can relate to it. Okay, it will be half. Okay, so this is 69.5. This is okay. Let me Control C or copy and paste and paste and paste. Why it is not coming? Why it is 0? You must understand that the same thing I did here worked, but when I did this same stuff for this copy pasting of the formula D2 into F2, we didn't get any answer. So now we'll edit the formula in the cell E2 with our this absolute cell reference. How? We'll use D2 here, D2 into F. Before that you have to use dollar, not ampersand, dollar. So dollar F, then $2, $F and $2, and okay, this is fine. $F, $2. Now let me just paste it. Now I got the exact answer, right? So this is the usage of absolute cell. When we are trying to use some constant value, you have to use this $F, $2. Okay, I hope you got the idea. Now the mixed cell references, you can use a mixed cell reference to reference a cell that is a part of absolute and part relative, which is part absolute, part relative. In other sense, a mixed cell reference can use when you wish to fix only the row or the column. For example, say in certain formula, I say I have formula which is something like this, like $1 plus B, like this. I have both of these things, right, is equal to $1 plus $B2. So the row of cell A1 is fixed here, and the column of cell B2 is fixed. As with the absolute cell referencing, we need to add the dollar sign, but only in front of the column or row identifier for the cell reference. So as before, we can add the dollar sign automatically by using this F4 keyboard shortcut. So in the active cell, you have to just type is equal to. You have to enter the cell address either by typing or using the point mode. You can press F4 once, say two dollar signs are entered as we see here, two dollar signs. Both the columns and row identifiers are absolute. Then you can use F4 again, the column identified is now relative and the row identified is now absolute. F4 again, the column identified is now absolute and row identified is now relative. Then you can just press the escape key to deactivate this F4 key. Okay, so this can be done. These are the options if you want to combine. There are other topics, there are other things also. As you can imagine, you can define a complex formula by hand or by combining multiple functions into a complex formula using the mentioned standard arithmetic operators. So when you perform calculations in Excel, we need to be very careful about the precedence. So Excel follows the standard order of operations when it performs all calculation. It starts with the, let me tell you here, first is your parenthesis, then you have exponents. So parenthesis means computation enclosed in parenthesis. These are performed first. And exponents, computation involving exponents, are performed next. Then we have multiplication and division, performed in the order in which they occur from left to right. And then we have addition and subtraction. So these are performed in the order in which they occur, so left to right. So in general, the calculations are performed from left to right, with multiplication division performed before addition and subtraction. Okay, you can just enter some dummy formula into some cell like this. Okay, let me show it to you. I'll just enter a dummy formula and you see what result you're going to get. Let me use any of these. So if I just write is equal to say 3 and plus 3 plus say 12 divided by 2 and into 4, what you're going to get? You're going to get 30. But, and see the formula also. Please see the formula in the formula bar. And Excel first will divide 12 by 2. So you'll get result as 12 by 2, that is 2, 6 is 12, 6. Then it will multiply the answer by 4, so that will be 6 4 is 24. And then it will add 27, 3, that means again add 3, that means 30. So you'll get answer as 30. You just set it this formula like this. Okay, what? 3 make bracket and just take one more bracket and now see the result. What will be the result? The result will be 36. So what Excel will do, it add 3 plus 3 plus this one. 3 plus 3 plus 12. What it will be? It will be 12 plus 6, that is your 18. Then the answer will be divided by 2, that is 18 by 2 is 9. And then it will multiply it by 4, that is 36. Okay. You can also use the named ranges formula. So you can, when you're working with large spreadsheet, you can name a range of cells and use the name in formula as a function. And to name a range, you can select the cell to be included in the range, and then type a name in the name box located above the worksheet. And you can just do it, by just giving the column name also. That is, you can just say sum and say, if you have a name here, say trial 1. Okay, all the range will be taken. There is one more thing before concluding. I like to tell you, this is linking worksheet. So you may want to use the value from a cell in another worksheet within the same workbook in a formula, because you can have multiple sheets here. See, there are multiple sheets here. So you can use the format like the sheet name, and then you have the exclamation mark and cell address. For example, the value of say, I'll just tell you because this is important. What I'm trying to tell you is you can link worksheet, and you have to use the format like this, because in Excel you can have multiple sheets here. So you just use this format, sheet name, exclamation mark and cell address, like this. Now for example, the value of say cell A1 in your current sheet and cell A2 in the second sheet can be added using the formula A1 in one sheet, your first sheet say, and you have A2 in this say, second sheet. How you can add? You can just do it by is equal to A1 plus sheet 2 exclamation mark A2, and that's it. You'll get the result. This is how you link worksheet. So this is the, I've taken in very short how you can play with the formulas and function in Microsoft Excel. And let me tell you that Excel, specifically the 16, has so many options. So many options. There are plenty. You'll be using say 1% of it for sure. These are immense, humongous. Everything is there now. So just basic idea I can give, so that you can just jump up to this Excel world and try various things which are available. See, everything is available, and you can, without actually making a software, you can do the calculation right here. So thank you so much. This was all about formulas and functions in Excel.